Hello everyone, welcome back. Blade Bananas here. Welcome to a new video. In this video, I want to showcase some of the battles that I played with one of the three budget teams I introduced in my previous video. And this team is consisted of Scrafty lead, Granbull as a finisher, and then Alolan Muk with Poison Jab, Acid Spray as a save swap. So if you guys didn't know, in the new season there was a buff to Poison Jab and Acid Spray. Acid Spray now costs less energy to build up to, and Poison Jab does slightly more damage than before, meaning it will have a lot more better neutral matchups, and against its counters it has a lot more farm down potential. I really like this team. I think even in my previous video I mentioned that I really like the idea of this team. And also, I just really like Shadow Granbull. You guys are gonna see how many times we have a Shadow Granbull in this video, just absolutely obliterating my opponents, even in neutral matchups, because the charm with Shadow bonus just does so much damage. These battles are pretty much my first battles taken in very low elo range. I tried very different teams, but in my last two sets I played with this team and I got 9-1. With one of the games that was lost, personally I didn't really accept the loss because I feel like a desync really caused a difference at the end there. And also there was some misplay on my side as well. But I think this team has a lot of potential. Without further ado, let's get into some of the battles. So this is a typical ABB line. So a lot of times in a neutral matchup, you definitely do want to swap out into Alolan Muk to draw the steel type, right? And also one thing that I like to talk about is if your opponent has a Pokemon that's double good against your Pokemon in the lead and something in the back. Like here, Toxicroak is extremely good against Crafty and is very good against Alolan Muk in the back because it resists everything from Alolan Muk, right? A lot of times in these situations, I like to take some big risk. Because if I stay in here, I'm just going to get farmed down. And then they're going to come out with a lot of energy and they're going to get shields from my Granbull, right? So what I like to do is, in someone's words, play to win. So I just make a very aggressive swap into my hardest counter to Toxicroak. My Granbull, I did 2 charms, absolutely chunks my opponent. Granted, this is a low elo range because it's at the beginning of the season. My opponent has a Grovyle, and it was actually a 1500 CP, but it just died to 6 charms. So now we have energy on our Granbull, yeah, we took back switch and we did a lot of health. We did a lot of damage to all their Pokemon, right? And they come back with a Azumarill here. So we just throw a move at right when they get to the Ice Beam, hoping for a CMP type. Which would they get? So now this Azumarill is completely out of energy, right? And at this point in time, they actually don't have their switch timer up. So what I'm going to do here is just farm this Azumarill all the way down, because they don't have their switch timer, right? Because they swapped relatively late, well, a little bit late. So our switch timer was just back up. So they probably could have swapped out to avoid getting farmed down there. But at this point, we have so much energy. So what we can do here is just keep going for these acid sprays. Even if they no shielded the acid spray, I think a lot of the counter damage from my Pokemon in the back, Scrafty was going to do a lot of damage after we throw double acid spray. But because they shielded the first one, now I'm just going to go for this Dark Pulse. And with the debuff, we're able to one-shot the Toxicroak from there. And that was a good game. We were able to come back from a very terrible lead because of the power of Shadow Granbull, right? Alright, next matchup we have Vigoroth. So this is relatively neutral as well. It all depends on if you can get a shield with the foul play, or I mean with the power punch and then get the foul play off. But overall, I think it slightly favors Vigoroth. So I'm gonna try to grab a shield. I also had to shield myself. But I definitely want to preserve my Scrafty just in case they have a steel type Pokemon in the back, right? So what I'm going to do is trying to catch a Body Slam with my Alolan Muk right here, which we're able to do. So we're soaking up damage, and we want to see what they could have in the back that could also counter my Shadow Granbull potentially, right? So here they actually stayed in and get off 2 body slams. We're able to just barely tank it, which is very good. They come back in with Medicham, so we still have switch timer up in cooldown, so I have to wait out the switch timer all the way up. So it looks like they have 2 counter users already. I'm gonna bring out my Granbull, obviously they're debuffed, and those charm damage, that was 2 charm. That 2 charm already got the Medicham. That did like 50% of the Medicham's health. So they were slow to react. They weren't sure what could what damage that was, so they just threw a power punch, which didn't really do much, right? And then we went for a power punch against Swampert, because at this point I just need to take out the Swampert. There isn't much the Medicham can do, right? So I could actually throw the foul play here. I don't know why I'm going for the power punch. But having less farm for the Medicham is also a safer play here, right? So even if they got to the Hydro Cannon, it's not gonna affect me too much. And then they bring back the Medicham to farm down my Scrafty, but they're not gonna be able to reach a Psychic here because they definitely go down from 1 charm at this range right here, and we're able to take that win. Good game to my opponent. That charm was so oppressive. That was with the acid spray debuff. Charm is just wow. That is insane. Shadow charm. All right, here we're against Scrafty. Okay, I think this one is pretty funny as well. So I'm trying to snipe down their Scrafty. When you're against a Scrafty, you always want to think about that, because if you can somehow snipe down the Scrafty with your own charm, or if you catch a power punch, that would be really good. I'm not sure why my opponent shielded. I think they tried to win the lead matchup, but then they got charmed down by my Shadow Granbull, and then they just left the game. That was that was just two charms, I believe. I mean, they were pretty low, but look at how much damage that 1 charm did. If they were at full HP, I think 3 charms would take it out. And we might see that later in the video, but it's insane. Alright, here we have a good lead. We've seen bad leads, we've seen neutral leads, but this time we have a good lead. In a lot of ABB teams, you don't really want to win lead. But obviously this time is different. After winning lead, we're look at the charm damage. That was 6 charms. 6 charms took out an Altaria. But yeah, a lot of times against AB8, when you're using ABB teams, if you win lead, you have to make sure that you're winning switch. But a lot of times that could be tough, right, when you're running ABB teams, because a lot of times you want to sacrifice something in the back. But this time, alright, we're able to win swap because we have a hard counter fairy type against the Altaria, right? And then they bring back in the Stunfisk, and I'm just gonna go into my Scrafty right away because I recognize the switch timer was not up for my opponent. So I get a little bit more farm, and then I get off this power punch to take out this Stunfisk, and then they have a Politoed in the back. So at this point, I'm thinking I'm gonna try my best to have 2 shields remaining, hoping to 2 shield flex my opponent here. So I'm just gonna go straight power punch here. If they shield, I go for a foul play. If they don't shield, I just keep going for power punch, right? Because it just keep building up my damage here. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm going for the 2 shield flex, so I'm not gonna shield anything here. I got a counter through. Again, if I shield, I just win the game right here, but I wanted to go for a 2 shield flex, but my opponent actually honor charges, so that counter just took out my opponent. And yeah, good game. Well, we kind of just hard countered my opponent there, but alright. Marowak is not, it's technically really good for Scrafty, right? But it's also not that good in a lot of times, because you still need 2 foul plays to take out the Marowak. And then the Marowak can really chip you down if they have Fire Spin. So in this case, my opponent had Hex, which could be even worse for Scrafty matchup, because they could potentially have Fire Plus, which would do a lot of damage. All right, here they bring out a Scrafty, and then we have a Granbull, and we just did 3 charms to take out that Scrafty. So yeah, there we go. Beautiful, right? Absolutely beautiful. All right, they take us out. They had to expend all their energy here with the Shadow Ball. So I think I just come back in with my Scrafty. I was only 1 away for my foul play, which I do go for the foul play. And now I'm looking to counter down this Marowak, I believe. I think I actually shield here because the fact that my opponent stayed in for... I actually don't shield, okay. The fact that my opponent stayed in for so long made me think they might be weak to Scrafty in the back, right? So there we go. They actually had a Stunfisk in the back, so that makes sense. So they were definitely weak to our Scrafty, which is good that we still have Scrafty here, even with, you know, minimal health. Since we have 2 shields, we can definitely win this game with just Scrafty here, right? My opponent recognizes that, and we had another 2 shield flex. Absolutely beautiful. All right, that was just Granbull 3 charms. That was incredible. I think this game I misplay a little bit. They save swap into Marowak against my Scrafty, because obviously the Lapras was super bad against my Scrafty, right? But Alolan Marowak is also not great against my Scrafty. It's slightly better. I'm waiting for them to throw some energy, because even the Bone Clubs will do a lot of damage to my Muk, and I don't have Snarl on my Muk, so I'm gonna have to trying to chip it down a little bit. Do I actually shield here? I don't shield. I'm letting my Scrafty tanking all the damage, and now I'm gonna go into my Muk, trying to farm this Marowak all the way down. I do have to tank a Bone Club from here, but I had all the energy here by farming down this Marowak, right? They resist the Poison Jab, which is even better because that means we get even more farm, right? So they come back in with the Lapras. We definitely get to 2 Dark Pulses here because they're only at 3 Ice Shards right here, and they need 1 more for the Surf. So we get there. Okay, we actually don't get there before they get to the Surf, but my opponent probably miscounted, and they were hoping to farm up a little bit more. They're actually committed to farming me all the way down at this point, and they come out with this matchup with 2 Surfs loaded. I panicked there a little bit, but I over-tapped anyways, but then went for the Power Punch, which was definitely the wrong play. I should just gone for the foul play there, since I had it there, right? But I over-tapped and also panicked there. I thought I had a foul play ready, so that was really, really bad. Because that essentially meant that I had to use a shield. And then I come out with Granbull, hoping it's something that I can beat. And it's actually a Credilli. So if I can take out this Credilli in 8 charms or 9 charms, I should be able to win this, because we did sneak in an extra charm, and then we just need 2 more charms here, and then the Credilli was already dead. That's just how much damage Shadow Charm does in a neutral matchup. You just save some shields for the Charmer, and in any neutral matchup, it's just nose tap all the way down, you know. All right, here again, this is the risk taking I'm talking about, because I don't have best response to Galvantula. Galvantula obviously beats my Scrafty unless I bait, and then it beats my Alolan Muk because I don't really have Snarl, right? And they can debuff me hits for neutral, and it's very tough. So here I make a misplay here. I tried to throw, but we were desynced, and my opponent was able to throw the play rough first. So here I'm gonna farm a little bit more, and I go for a crunch, hoping that my opponent shield here. Because I actually don't really want to win switch. Winning switch is not the most important thing for me, because even if I win switch, I still have to deal with the Galvantula, and with shields down, this is going to be very, very tough. So now I'm going to bring out my Scrafty to farm down this Azumarill, and then I'm going to tank a lunge from this Galvantula here. As you guys can see, this Galvantula is already a health just from the 2 charms that we did earlier. So this is the risk taking I'm talking about. If you're already in a bad situation, you might as well make a risky play and hoping to turn it into a good situation. So here, because of the charm damage, we're able to do a ton of damage to the Galvantula, so that our foul play was able to take it out, right? And then here, I should have gone for the foul play, but my opponent shielded anyways, probably miscounted my counter by 1. If they didn't shield this, I was going to go for an Acid Spray and then hoping to farm all the way down, which would be a very, very close game. But because they shielded, now I just go for Dark Pulse to finish off this Vigoroth. But yeah, even if they didn't shield, I think I just need to straight up going for Acid Spray, and we would be close to KOing the Vigoroth with fast moves alone. Alright, so next up we have Scrafty versus Rumel. Alright, I go for my safe swap here, Muk. That's actually kind of arguably a bad choice because it's a harder counter for Azumarill, right? But right now I'm hoping to bait out something that beats my Shadow Granbull. But they actually have a Machamp in the back, which is pretty not good for me. I think my opponent did a really good play there. He tried to he stopped attacking because he didn't want me to farm down the Machamp. And then here we get a desync because somehow they did a counter and then they didn't take my charm damage. So that must mean there was a delay. And then I make a huge misplay there by shielding a cross chop. I definitely miscounted. And I was very frustrated at that point because they did a counter and then they threw a move. So I was very frustrated there. And it somehow made me kind of tilted and then I made a misplay there. But it's all fine. I think this was the last game of the 2 sets I used with this team, and I didn't come out with the win in this game. Spoilers alert. But yeah, so I went for they had a Venusaur in the back, and they didn't even bring out the Venusaur against my Granbull. Alright, I'm actually baffled here. I guess they knew they were gonna win anyways, but yeah, that's very interesting. And I just went for Power Punch, didn't even build up to foul play, so my opponent knew that he didn't need to shield. I'm just making all the misplays here. Alright, that's so good, that's so good. And it looks like that game we were probably going to lose anyways because we got pretty hard counter in the lead, right? Azumarill hard counters Scrafty, and then they have Venusaur hard counters my Charm user, and they have Shadow Machamp that hard counters my Alolan Muk. So yeah, there we go. That's the game for you guys. Let me know what you think of the battles. I absolutely love this team. Let me know what you guys think. I think Shadow Granbull with Charm is absolutely oppressive. It hits so much damage against anything that that doesn't resist Charm, right? Even Credilli, as you guys saw earlier, that Pokemon is decently bulky, and then it just died to 8 or 9 charms. And then 3 charms took out a Scrafty. That was absolutely insanity. But yeah, if you have access to a Shadow Granbull, give it a try. It's so much fun. If you don't have Shadow Granbull, regular Granbull would work just fine. Because as a finisher, you want to have moves that can hit back against its counters, right? So in this case, if your opponent has a Steel type, you can use your Granbull to potentially one-shot a Steel type at the end game, right? Yeah, there we go. That's battles. I hope you guys enjoy. Make sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more, and I'll see you guys in my next video.